I'm one of those artists who likes to fix their mistakes by just piling on more details. If a painting's not going well, just add more stuff to it. That'll fix it, right? So today, in my quest to simplify and do less, we're going to do a fun floral quick painting together. And I'm gonna give you all my best tips and tricks for approaching things in that sort of more minimal, fresh, and easy way. It's something I'm practicing, so practice with me. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and on this channel we make art together, and it's fun, not scary. And as I said, I tend to do too much when it comes to my artwork. I always see a point in these videos where I'm like, stop painting, girl. And then I just keep on going and I add a bunch more. So I've been doing these quick paintings. I kind of give myself 30 minutes or an hour, and I just try to keep it simple, clean brush strokes, confident brush strokes, adding a little less detail. With a painting like that, you have to get things right, and you just don't add quite as much. Like, you don't want to drag the painting down with so many details and fussiness. It's just something I'm practicing and working on. It might not be a style that I follow, but if you like kind of what I'm saying, then paint along with me. This is also going to be an exploration of gouache. We're doing like a fun, simple floral. We're painting a glass, a vase. So if that's something you've been wondering about, I'll be showing you how I approach painting glass. And the only other thing I want to say is that if you're learning from these videos and you're enjoying them, I do have a couple e-courses. They're available on my website, shaydacampbell.com, or you can go directly to Shayda Campbell Courses. I have 2 watercolor e-courses and a floral illustration e-course. And right now, they're all on sale. I'm doing a February long sale. It's something that I had kind of wanted to do in January, because January is like, you know, new me energy, but that's kind of toxic. But I was thinking kind of like new year, new skill. No new me, ugh, that's gross. New learning, new building skills, taking on new challenges, all that good stuff. But you know, with a 2-year-old, it's like you blink and January's over and it's February. So we're doing a February sale, month long, and right now you can get 30% off any of the courses or any of the course bundles. That sale is going to diminish as the month goes along. Sounds exciting, diminishing. But right now, for the first week, you can get 30% off with code FEBSALE, all one word. Next week, it'll be 20%, then 15, and then 10. So go now, use the sale code, do some learning along with me. If you love these videos, there are all these other learning materials on my website where I really get into the nitty-gritty of stuff. So head over there, check it out, and then come along with me as we explore the wonderful world of gouache. And I try to do less, which is very, very hard for me. Hey friends, welcome to my desk. This is my gouache setup. Today I have a quick sketch done on hot pressed watercolor paper, 140 pound. That's a block, so it's all stuck together, which makes it really nice. You don't get much buckling or warping at all, even when you do use a lot of wet media. And then I'm using gouache. Gouache is a highly opaque water-based medium. It's just like watercolor paint, except it's not as transparent. So you need a lot more water to make it transparent. And this is what my palette looks like. I'm using an old plate that I got at Value Village. This all would wash off for anybody who loves plates. I don't know. But you can see, like, I've got a white here, pale rose, indigo, red, magenta, dark green, what's the dark green? Windsor green, olive green over here, Naples yellow. I've freshened up some of them, but just like with watercolor, you can add water to the dry caked on paint and you can pick it up and use it again. So some of them I have just like squeezed a little extra out here. Like we could freshen up our indigo. There we go. So now I have like a wet one that's going to just be kind of quicker and easier to use, and I have some dry stuff there as well. 2 glasses of clean water, paper towel just for blotting my brush on to make sure I'm in control of that paint. I'm going to start with some filbert brushes. That's this guy here. let me see. No, I don't want an angled brush. I will probably do a lot of this with a filbert, maybe a larger round brush. I'm trying to go for a somewhat abstracted look, so I don't need any really specific tools. I like using the filbert because it gives me like a nice brush stroke. I do have a flat wash brush there as well. I'll just stick that guy over there and let's just jump right in. What I've done, and I'm sorry I can't always include everything because the videos just get so long, but here's my photograph. It's just something I found on Pinterest that I'm going to work from, and I just sketched it. Now the photograph might have actually been better to go wide and do like a landscape. I wanted to work tall and do a portrait, so I just adjusted it as I needed to, and I sketched in that little vase, which has a great shape, and I sketched in some branches with these lemons. And then you're just looking for shapes, you know, like the top of the vase, we're getting a much darker color than the rest of the vase. Same thing, like when you come around the bottom, it gets sort of darker. And I want to do just a quick painting, something fun, simple. I think I'll start with the background. I'm going to mix right in the center here, pick up a bunch of that white. I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow in and a little bit of Van Dyke brown and a little bit of indigo. That'll give me a nice gray. Almost like maybe a creamy color, a little bit more brown. And I just want to get a nice backdrop on this whole piece. And we're just today thinking about simplifying, because if you are a fan of this channel, you know that your girl, Shayda, she likes to do too much. I've talked about this at length on this channel, but when things maybe aren't going as well as I would hope with a piece of art, I will tend to, instead of like pulling back or starting over or fixing the actual issue, which often the issue is that I haven't done enough planning and I don't have like a clear vision, I guess, in my head of how I want the piece to look. So that means for me, what it means is what I will do is I will just add some more detail. Oh, my painting looks like crappy. Why don't I just add in some more leaves, some more details, some more small line work? And of course, that does not fix it. It often makes it worse. It makes for a more cluttered final product. And as I've said many times, when I watch the videos, I am screaming at myself like, stop, please stop. Can you just stop there? No, you're not going to stop, are you? And I just keep going, keep adding a little something here, a little something over there until I've just, done too much. And so what I've been doing lately is I've been painting a lot with gouache. I've just fallen in love with gouache and acrylics. And what my objective is a lot of the time is to simply paint something, pick a photograph from my camera roll or just find a cute picture on Pinterest. It doesn't have to mean a whole lot. And I just try to simplify. So for this one, we're going to paint a nice simple backdrop here with this sort of creamy beigey color. And then we're going to paint in these leaves and lemons, and we're not going to do a whole lot. They don't actually need a lot of detail. A little swipe of green, a little swipe of, a slightly darker green, and we're going to create some depth and detail for those leaves. I'm excited. I always feel so hopeful when I start a painting. I'm sure some of you will find that relatable. It's like, I'm not going to screw this up. Everything's going to go great. And then the challenge is to get through that dip that comes later when you're not feeling as hopeful, when you're feeling a bit more like, okay, that's not where I thought that was going to go, but I'm going to see this through. I'm going to stick with this. And so when I begin, I'm always like, yeah, I'm going to keep everything so simple. I'm going to use these confident brush strokes and just paint a leaf in a single brush stroke, and it's going to look great and it's going to look so painterly and awesome. So we will see. We will see. The nice thing here is that this is just practice. So it doesn't have to mean a whole lot, and it doesn't have to go perfectly. Oh, I put way too much blue in there. That's okay. Let's put some more brown in. Let's put some more white. Get that creamy color back. Maybe that's a little darker, but that's not necessarily bad because I do want some contrast of color within the background. So over here. And I want to see my brush strokes a little bit. You know, I want it to look kind of messy. It's just this quick painting. When I say quick painting, I just mean I'm not, I haven't done any planning. Like for a larger piece, say a commission, I'll do some sketches and then I'll just play around with color palettes, do some swatches. And then when I'm, you know, have my final sketch, I'll transfer that final sketch. I'll trace it. I'll look for mistakes and issues. Trace it again, transfer it to the canvas, and then taking the, you know, prep I've done, I've got a nice color palette, I sort of know what colors I'm using, then I begin the painting. So a lot of prep goes into it, and that's a nice way to approach a painting, because I honestly, when you sit down to do it, you're like, it's kind of already done in a way, like I've already got this perfectly transferred sketch that I've traced a bunch, and now I know what colors I want to use. Something like this, I'm just sitting down and I'm gonna paint, and it's gonna be, you know, what it's gonna be. And I think that's why I'm talking a little bit about, you know, sometimes I do get a little lost in there and I add too much, but that is why we are practicing. So I've just added a little extra blue so that this would be a little darker. And then I'm kind of just doing these crisscross brush strokes so that my background doesn't look just flat. I want there to be some depth of color there. Let's leave it alone for the moment. And I think what I want to do is maybe just paint the table. And for the table, I just want to go slightly darker. So grab that Van Dyke brown, grab that indigo. It's way too blue, grab some more brown, maybe a hint of Naples yellow, maybe another hint. And then let's rinse my brush. Try to keep one of the waters nice and light and bright. And with gouache, it does pay to change your water often as well, because you put so much water into the paint. So you're gonna know if you've got dirty water, it will color that paint, especially the lighter colors, of course. With gouache, I've mentioned this before, but if you're, you know, new to the channel or you haven't seen a gouache video, gouache comes out of that tube, the consistency of like a thick toothpaste, very similar to like a watercolor paint. And then when you put it on that paper, it really should be the consistency of water, like it should be liquid. And then the amazing thing is that it is still so wonderfully opaque, which you can see right now. I'm picking up this watery paint. It's just gliding off my brush. It's so nice to work with gouache. And boo, 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 there we go. I also didn't tape off for this painting. I just gave myself like a messy penciled border, and then I want the edge of the painting to kind of look a little bit messy, and so far so good, I think. I think that gives it a nice quality. And oh, I should paint in the back of the jar, or not the back of the jar, but the table that sits behind the jar. There we go. I like this gray that's made with the brown and a little bit of yellow and blue. It almost has like a little bit of a green undertone, and I think that's perfect, especially when the subject matter is these lemons and green leaves. So we need this to dry a little bit, but let's mix up a nice green for the leaves, and we'll use our Van Dyke brown for the stems. So why don't I just move you? And then can you see that okay? Let's push that up a little bit. So what I have here from another painting, I've been working on a lot of landscapes lately, is you can see now that I'm wetting it. I have my olive green. And so let's mix you right in here, olive green. I do have a good spot there because like I have some brown kind of nearby, and I like to mix, oops, there's white. That is what I don't want, is white. So never mind about you. I'll grab a little bit of brown, and I also have a little bit of Windsor green, which is a dark cool green. So I'm mixing the Windsor green with the olive green, a little bit of indigo, a little bit of brown. Just want to muddy it up slightly. And then over here, I've got more Windsor green and some brown. And so I'm just going to make like a really dark, cool green over here. Both of them are going to have a nice earthiness to them though. They're both going to be a nice natural green. There we go. So, I mean, let's start with that and then let's just see. Remember, quick painting doesn't have to be perfect. I think what I want to do is go in with a slightly lighter green. Just going to check my setup so you can see everything. Let's pull that there. Okay. You can see what's going on. I'm going to take this mix of brown and olive green, and we'll start painting some of these leaves. The nice thing with gouache is that you don't have to worry. Let's put a hint of yellow in there. You don't have to worry about doing, like leaving your highlights, unless you want to use the paper, the white paper as a highlight, which you may. You can add those in later. So we can just do some green leaves and then we can darken them, we can lighten them. If you're coming from watercolor, I think that's a very nice feeling. You don't have to worry as much. And so just like with watercolor, I always sound like a broken record, but just try to use the brush to make a shape. And then you can refine it, you know, change it slightly. Just see what you come up with. See if you can allow the brush to kind of create the leaf shape and then leave it alone. It doesn't mean that you can't ever, you know, draw the leaf and get it just so, but I think there's something nice about just going like this, like, okay, and then that's gonna be a big old leaf there. I guess the reason I do that is because it gives me nice organic shapes. And I really like that. And for a quick painting, is this really about like having an amazing painting at the end? Like, not really. This for me is about practice. Like, I am hoping to improve my painting skills. And as I said, what I really need to work on this year is doing less and doing it better. So not as much of the like planning and prepping. Like if you want me to do a commission, I'll put so much work into it and it's going to turn out great. But when I just sit down to paint, can I just capture something, you know, with these easy, effortless brush strokes? That's harder for me. So that's what we're practicing. That sounds really cocky. If you ask me to paint something, it will be perfection. That's not what I mean. I just mean, you know, I'm going to put all that time in to trace it and trace it again, and I'll be like stressing over it. So sure, by the end of that process, it's like, yeah, it looks like how the photo looks or exactly how I, you know, wanted it to look. But can I just be a little freer and be excited about what I paint when I'm, you know, like when I'm bending in, leaning in, bending, when I lean into that freedom. I'm really liking the way these leaves are looking. I do need some larger ones. I've done a lot of like small ones or angled ones when you just have the line. It's like a nice leaf on an angle, but we need some big guys. And I like the way they're going off the border. I planned that. Okay. And let's see, I think I'm gonna let that dry and then maybe have one sort of overlapping so we can do a bit of good fun overlap. I think we need some more maybe over here in this direction. Let's pick up just a hint of that. And okay, we're gonna have a leaf that is in behind the lemon. There we go. That's kind of cool. We're gonna have, another one that's kind of in behind these guys. Cool. I can barely see my lines for stems, so I'm kind of trying to just be cool and figure that out. I'll definitely have to paint over those vertical ones, but that's fine. That's the nice thing about gouache. I can paint over. Yes, I can. So let's keep doing a couple more. Really trying to just use like a confident brush stroke. Cool, okay. I really need to start putting these lemons in so you can see like what is what. And the stems and branches, I think too, would be quite helpful at this point. So why don't we do a bit of that? Let's, you know what? Let's put in the branches, because if the leaves are still wet, we're not going to be able to paint those lemons quite yet. So for this one, I will switch to a round brush. I'm using a number 6, at least at the moment. Actually, yeah, I'll use the number 6. I have a number 4 on the desk here as well, which would be appropriate. There's that Van Dyke brown. Just bring that over. Put a bit of water in there. Darken it with just a hint of indigo. Nice brown there. I'm gonna blot my brush so I'm in control of the paint. And then I know that, you know, I've got this big stem in the jar. That's fine. I don't have to do much other than kind of pull that brush down and shake it a little bit. You basically just don't want it to look too straight, right? So just kind of try to wiggle the brush a bit, but then again, not too much. Like you want it to look like something in nature and have that broken, rough looking edge, but you don't want it to look like you kind of overdid it, I guess. And we need to join some of these guys. So let's do it. You get a branch and you get a branch. Just look out for stuff that's not connected to anything and we will get there. And also don't make it too thin. My predilection is always to go like super, super thin. And then later, like a year later, I'll pull a painting out of the drawer and it's like, why did you think it needed to be that thin? Like it just doesn't look natural at all. There we go. Okay, and then let's see, is everybody connected? Let's make that a little thicker in through there. Same thing over here. And then I need to just sort of, you can kind of see like the little ghost of the stem through the frosted glass. For the lemons, I'm going to use Naples yellow. The yellow that I previously been talking about, I've been calling Naples yellow, and it is Naples yellow, but it's just Naples yellow light. So we're going to use the real Naples yellow. And I'm going to mix a little white in there. The white is already dry, but that's okay. I can just, you know, scrub at that paint. Get a good amount of color there, maybe add a bit of brown. And then let's just see, we don't have to get the color perfect right off the bat. We can just paint the lemon and go back in later and add a highlight and add a low light. I might leave some paper showing through just because I do like to use the paper as my highlight. And you can just see there, I sort of like made something up basically. I wasn't too precious about where those little bits of paper showing through are. We're going to put a shadow on this side. Highlights, that means we'll be over to the right. So we'll put our darker bits on the left, lighter on the right. You are the artist, you get to decide where your light source is. Of course, if you're working from a photo like this one, you can just say like, oh yeah, the lemons do look a little bit lighter on the right. But you could change that, like, doesn't, you know, let's just paint this guy in completely because he feels like he's going in a weird direction. Okay, and then this one down here. Gonna have to go over that leaf again, and that's totally fine. And then you can kind of see the lemon through the glass, but it's not, we're not gonna connect it. Glass does funny things. When you're looking through glass, things are a little strange. So we need to capture that so that you know, like, this is a jar, this is glass. Great, those are looking pretty good, I think. And we'll just let them dry a little bit, and then we'll come back and we will add a bit of a shadow. What I want to do now is come back to the leaves and add some lighter green. So we've got our olive green here. Maybe let's put a little white, or even a bit of that Naples yellow would be really good, just to lighten it up. And then we're just going to hit some of these leaves with like a lighter. I'm not gonna overthink this. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just kind of putting like, okay, that side of that leaf is going to be a little lighter. Doesn't have to be anything else to it really. And I don't want to add too much detail. That's what I'm trying to kind of guard against. Like if I add to this, I don't want there to suddenly be like all these crazy details. And adding some stems in where I might be missing one. Cool, yeah, I think that looks good. We do have like a little bit of leaf on the other side of the glass as well. So let's put that guy in. Then just to get some balance, I'm going to put one more leaf over here. Just make it like a random shape. Cool. Okay. What we need to do now is add some detail on the vase and get some of the shadow and highlights right on some of these lemons. And then I might add like a super dark green on some spots of the leaves. And then like that'll be pretty much it. So let's come back to the vase. I've got this white here. And I think what I need is just basically a creamy white. So if there's a little Naples yellow in there, that's totally fine. Because I'm messy, but it's fine. And what I want to do is put in some highlights. We're going to do some lines on the glass. This needs to be more watery. I need like a really watery, transparent color now, kind of like watercolor. So just add lots of water. And that's going to be in behind this stuff. There we go. And then I need one that's actually going in front, over. There we go. I need some going horizontal. Put a big light white one at the base here. And then we need to kind of create some frostiness across the top of the vase because it's sort of obscuring everything in the photo. At least that's how it looks. And so we want to capture that as well. I think that looks pretty good. Now what we need to do is add some dark color. So let's use this gray that we already have, a little bit of indigo, a little bit of brown, a little more indigo. Oops, that was way too much. That's fine. Let's see what that looks like. That should give us like a nice dark gray that we can use to create the sort of darkness on that glass vase. So let's see, it needs to be darker. No, I can't, gotta go darker. It needs to be darker than this table that we created. Give us like a nice depth to the glass. So there we go. And make it a little bit rounded. Yep. Come up. If all your lines don't connect with the glass, that's okay. We're gonna have that dark color up here. Remember, at this point, it's good to remember that it's a quick painting, that you're just trying some stuff and it doesn't have to be perfect. We might actually want to put some more white over there. And we don't want to overdo the details on this because nothing else in the painting is super detailed. So we want there to be quite large color blocks. You know, a big swipe of dark gray, a big swipe of white or really, really light gray. Like that. Except that I went onto the lemon and off of the glass, but we'll fix that. There's our highlight there. Yeah, I think that's working. Remember, simple, easy, quick painting. Let's use that really dark color to create a bit of a shadow here. Not dark enough. go. That's gonna be our shadow. Just 1 or 2 swooshes should do the trick. Wanted to add like a bit of a rounded base so you can see like, okay, that's the back of the jar. And then we need to just put a little bit of color on those lemons, and I think we're almost there. So let's grab from some of that darker brown, mix that into the Naples yellow. That's going to give us a color that will be great for adding a low light or a shadow. There we go. This guy, we just need to paint that side in. This one. There we go. So now we've added like a nice bit of darkness to them. You can also do some like little spots if you feel like they need it, maybe 1 or 2 probably goes a long way. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And if you didn't get the shaping exactly right, come back in with a little bit of that lighter yellow when it has dried, and you know, add some more highlight or regular light. Yeah, I think that's working pretty well. I think all we need to do now is maybe, do we just need a little bit of help for our brown here, which you can kind of, we need like a really light, you know, oh, you can just sort of barely see that. I think that's even too much. We'll sort of muss it up there. You can barely see it through the frosted glass. I think we do need to put some harsher, like more opaque white highlights on there. But what I really would like to see, just to finish this piece in a really nice way, is a really dark green on some of the leaves. So I've got a mix here of that Windsor green and brown and a little bit of indigo, and it's like a super, super dark green. And we can just, you know, kind of go like that, and that'll help it look like the lemon is sitting on top of that leaf.
Okay, let's take a little bit of brown and we're just going to add some darkness to some of the areas of the stem. Anywhere that looks like it just needs to be a little more substantial. Doesn't have to be perfect, remember? I want to make the glass a little more glassy. So I'm coming back in here. We're going over these again. They just weren't, they weren't opaque enough, and that's okay. We're gonna put a big one here, and then over here. There we go. That's gonna make that look a lot more like glass. And I think all I want to do now is maybe there should be a little shadow over here, like where these guys would be, you know, because this is casting a shadow, so these would cast a bit of shadow as well. I'm just making it up. I don't know. That's okay. I also feel like maybe these leaves, there could be like a little bit more going on. So let's just add like a couple more leaves in here, I think would be nice. Okay, guys, I actually just realized I might be trying to do too much. So let's stop her right there. I'm happy with the way that this looks. This was fun, and it's not perfect, and that's fine. I just, you know, sat down for an hour and I created something, and I had sort of an idea in my head of how I wanted it to look with this messy border and this greeny gray and a shadow and this sort of simplified idea of what the glass vase looks like. And you know, I think it worked out really well. I'm really happy with it. There's things that I think I can work on, maybe like how I shade circles and ovals like lemons. That could probably use a little bit of work, and that's okay. That is, you know, that's the nice thing about practice, is you see where the issues are and you make them better next time. I've really been working on my landscapes lately, and I'll be honest, it's not easy because I just have to be, I'll do a painting and it's just not what I thought it was going to be. And I sort of have a rule of like, you can't start the painting over the same day. Like you can start that one again tomorrow, but it's just not gonna be a good thing if you try to do it again today. So it's been a good learning opportunity for me to say, like, I don't know a lot about landscapes, but I want to get better at them. I want to succeed at that, in that subject. So I've just been trying, and I'm just rambling. I'm trying to get a handle on painting landscapes. I'll show you one that I painted this morning. I painted it on Sunday and it wasn't going great. I mean, it looks okay, but there was issues. And so I sat down and I painted it today, which is Monday when I'm filming. And, you know, it went a lot better. I still see issues with this, but what my goal is to abstract more. So to do less, so bigger, more confident brush strokes. And I think you can really see that on the road and in the clouds. And I need to work on it with stuff like the barn. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. That's like, I'm over here feeling, you know, mixed about some of my paintings. I feel sort of like, that one was okay, I guess. So if you're feeling that, I am with you. And that's why we're doing it. You know, we don't know that we're not the greatest at painting lemons unless we paint some lemons. We don't know that we're not the greatest at painting glass vases unless we paint some glass vases. So thank you for hanging out with me and giving me a chance to build my gouache skills and try some stuff. And there's, you know, why don't I, instead of telling you a bunch of things that I don't like about this painting, why don't I tell you some things that I think were really successful? Okay. I love this little broken, like dry brush paint stroke down here, like where the page just shows through a little bit. I think that's so pretty and cute. I also kind of love how you can see my pencil border through the gouache at the top. I'm like, yeah, it looks so painterly, like, yes, little pencil border. I like the lumpy quality that I achieved on the lemons. I don't think their shape is perfect. This one's shape is not perfect. It's like the leaves are they in front or are they behind? It's like they're both. But no, I think the shape, the lumpy texture of them came through pretty well. I think the shadow looks beautiful. And as I said, I love this greeny gray that I mixed. It's such a pretty color. And yeah, so some good stuff, some stuff to work on. That's the point of practice, and that's the point of a quick painting, and just for the joy of painting, obviously. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you soon with a new tutorial.